Let's break this down, Hot Rod. You were right down the street from us. You were in Chapel Hill over the weekend. Barn burner, Miami, North Carolina. I mean, the game that everyone wanted to be a part of at the beginning of the year because it was going to decide the Coastal. It turned out to just be,
a great game.
A couple of three-loss teams hooking up at a half-empty Kenan Stadium.
Really
it was a good game. It was a good game.
Where North Carolina got booed in the fourth quarter. Their offense got booed.
I mean, rightfully so.
Spoiled North Carolina fans. No, come on.
Well, let me ask you.
North Carolina fans, football fans, have no right to boo anything. They really don't. The only reason that there's any expectations on this team is because Mac Brown decided to grace you with his presence. So please save me the Lawrence Taylor talk.
Wow. Man, that's a take, Hot Rod. That's a take, bro. Listen, I mean, they had a taste of success last year. They're trying to build a program.
You lost in the Orange Bowl. Wow. You finished 4th in the conference. They had one division, and you finished 4th with a loss to Florida State and Virginia.
Before we move off the ACC talk, can I just get you to validate an opinion of mine that
what's up?
I think Pitt's the best team in that league.
It could be. They gave up 44 points to Western Michigan.
So there's that.
If you want to trust them, that's fine. You can trust NC State, who lost to the 7th best team in the SEC West. Or you can trust Wake Forest. They're undefeated.
They are? Yeah, I like Wake Forest. We've talked about the Deeks a lot on this show. The Ed Ogeron news was maybe not surprising, Roddy, but the way in which all that broke after the win over Florida, after beating a rival, I realized that LSU's a 500 football team since they won a national championship 21 months ago. Wasn't that long ago, man. Those guys were on top the college football world. What do you make of it? Because now you got an LSU opening, you got a Southern Cal opening, probably a Miami opening. I mean,
I don't know about that. I think there will be openings in the ACC. I'm not convinced that it's Miami. I'm more convinced of other places. But
you want to break some news here? I mean, what are you thinking, Rod Stradamus?
Look, I think if you look at what's going on in Blacksburg and the way that thing has gone, they're a 3-3 football team right now that's got a hell of a back end. They can't score points on offense. It's the worst offense in his era, in Justin Fuente's era.
And he's an offensive guy, right? Or
he's an offensive guy, or he's an offensive guy / he won't let go of his offensive coordinator. Now, after last season, people wanted him gone. Brad Cornelson's the offensive coordinator, wanted him gone, but they were putting up 400 yards a game. They were the 3rd best offense in the league. This year, they are dead last. They are awful on offense. You fired Bud Foster, and last year the defense was terrible. This year it's rebounding. And look, he flirted publicly with the Baylor job. I just think there's a lot of smoke around Justin Fuente, and I like Coach Fuente. We had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago when I had their game, but it just feels like that's a place that's going to be a little iffy. Duke just got shut out over the weekend. David Cutcliffe's one of my favorite coaches in the league. I don't see how he's back next year. I just don't. One way or another, I don't see that happening. And then you don't know what's going to happen at Syracuse. You don't know what's going to happen at Miami. And you don't know what the secondary market is going to bring for some of these ACC coaches. A guy like Jeff Hafley, he's not going to get one of the jobs that you talked about, but he could get one of the jobs that the guy who gets one of the jobs that you talked about leaves.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. So that sort of trickle down. Like you look at a Jeff Hafley, you look at I know Dave Clawson. He's been at Wake Forest for a long time, and someone eventually is going to be like, that guy's doing a good job. Maybe it's Kentucky after Mark Stoops takes LSU. I don't know. These are the things that you have to sort of consider. So I am not convinced, though, about Miami because of the money aspect of it and who they are going to want to go get. They want Cristobal. Cristobal is not making as much money as you think. He's not making as much money as I thought. He's making somewhere in the 4s, which makes him affordable for Miami if you pay him the same. But you're paying Manny's buyout, you're paying his buyout, and then he gets a raise. He's not taking a hometown discount.
I mean, Cristobal is going to be wanted in Baton Rouge, I would think, as well. I mean, he's got to be one of the guys you call.
USC, he's going to be wanted at Baton Rouge. He's you are in a bidding war if you go for Mario Cristobal, and you are banking. Miami fans are banking on him taking a hometown discount. And newsflash, you don't do that for a worse job, even if it is where you went to school. Miami's a worse job than all the jobs that we just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Especially LSU. It is a much worse job than LSU.
So here's my question. Here's how I'd like to kind of phrase this. The LSU job is open, even though Coach O is going to finish out the year. We'll see how that plays out. It should be interesting. You think it's a better job than Southern Cal? And if you're Scott Woodward, the AD, who's your call? Like, where are you going first, Roddy?
I know Jimbo Fisher's sort of the sexy one to go after. I call Mark Stoops. That's my first call. I don't know if it's sexy enough, but like if you can do that at Kentucky, you can do it at LSU. He knows the league. He knows what he's recruiting against. He knows who he's competing against. He's got the bloodlines to know what it's like to play at a place like that on a week-in, week-out basis. He's a face of the program type guy in a way that Ed Ogeron never was. So I think Mark Stoops is the guy that I would go after. It's substance. It may not be the sizzle of a Billy Napier. It may not be the sizzle of a Jimbo Fisher, but it is substance. And I want substance if I'm LSU.
Can you win a national championship with Mark Stoops?
You want it with Les Miles and Ed Ogeron.
I understand.
Yes, you can win a national championship with Mark Stoops.
And I don't know. I mean, you...
Bro, did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, I did, but I'm not listening. Like, I heard it, but I'm not listening. Go ahead, Serbs. What you got?
The fact that we're even talking about Mark Stoops, head coach at Kentucky, being a potential LSU head coach, I think proves he can win a national championship at LSU.
He's not my potential. That's who Roddy's picked. That's Roddy's guy.
The reason why he makes sense, though, is because Kentucky is not a doormat in the SEC, which they have been forever.
They are.
There's never been a time where Vandy and Kentucky were viable in that conference. James Franklin got Vandy there, and therefore he got the Penn State job. Mark Stoops has gotten Kentucky there. Therefore, he's going to get a better job. And LSU makes a hell of a lot of sense.
It does. I think Lane Kiffin makes a lot of sense. But if you're LSU, do you go from one like kind of volatile hire to another kind of volatile hire? I don't know. I think Lane Kiffin makes a lot of sense, though. I'd love to see Lane Kiffin at LSU. And he'd go, I'm assuming. How far is Oxford from Baton Rouge? He'd probably be there in 2 hours. Is it 2 hours away?
I don't think it's that close. But it's
3 hours.
Yeah, it's a car ride for sure.
Okay.
What about James Franklin?
I don't know. Like, sure. I mean, I think James Franklin's a good coach. Yeah, sure. I think that works. But, like, people are throwing out James Franklin. If you're James Franklin, do you take the LSU job?
I mean, you've got your pick. I mean, if you want a job, this is a cycle where Southern Cal and LSU are on the table. I mean,
but are either of those jobs better jobs than Penn State? I would make the argument that you can win a national championship at LSU easier than you can win it at Penn State, which is saying something because Alabama. But LSU's done it, and Penn State hasn't. But from an expectation standpoint, if you don't win a national championship at LSU, you're out of there. If you don't win a national championship at Penn State, sure, hang around. Like, Penn State's cool with 10 wins now. So, like, quality of life-wise, making plenty of money.
By the way, even if you do win a national championship at LSU, you're still out.
Yeah,
I mean,
also that. Yeah,
let's
they
be real.
fired the last two guys that won national championships for him.
Yeah, I mean, James Franklin's been at Penn State for 8 years. There are built-in advantages going about your business in Baton Rouge or L.A. as opposed to State College. Like you talked about recruiting, Roddy. It ain't the 70s, man. You don't have five-star talent coming out of the Rust Belt anymore.
Penn State's one of the blue bloods, man, and they got plenty of money. He makes plenty of money. Recruiting wise, you're right. Your point is well taken. Although Pennsylvania is not devoid of talent, and he goes into the DMV, he goes into New Jersey. So I don't know. I think Mark Stoops makes the most sense.
By the way, there is another guy out there who's the head coach of the number 2 team in the nation right now, Luke Fickell. That's a tough sell, bringing him down to Baton Rouge.
Number 2.
But I'm just saying. Wait, are you poo-pooing the number 2 team in the country?
Absolutely. I poo-pooed the last one. Might as well poo-poo this one.
Wow. I mean, they've just beaten everybody on their schedule, Roddy, for the last 2 years. Like, what more do you want?
Them to play somebody?
Who's somebody,
them to
man?
actually be the number 2 team in the country?
Okay. Well, I mean, put him in the playoff and give him a chance.
Here, let's go down the list because college football playoff rankings come out in 2 weeks. And when Cincinnati starts at like 6, people are going to have a hissy fit. But the thing that they don't realize is the AP poll it's like a golf leaderboard. Like somebody loses, slide the next guy up. Somebody loses, slide the next guy up. Like they don't actually watch the games. If you watch Ohio State right now, Ohio State's the second best team in the country. And it's probably not, well, it is close, with Alabama, who's lost, but they're at 5 for whatever reason. Both of them are better than Cincinnati, hands down. Oklahoma with Caleb Williams, stop it. Like, Cincinnati's not scoring with them. They're just not.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Like you said, it's 2 weeks away, a little more than 2 weeks away, but I'm here for it. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fascinating. And I think you're wrong. I think you're both wrong. I think Cincinnati will appear in the top 5. In the inaugural set of rankings. That's all I'm saying.
They won't stay there.
Okay, very good. Very good.
I think they might, Surber. Like, I think they may debut at 5 and just never move.
One more thing, though, from the weekend that I got to hit you up on, because I'm watching it Saturday night, and I'm like, man, this has gotten out of hand. The Tennessee Ole Miss game with Tennessee folks throwing shit on the field.
Yeah.
Your reaction to that as a former player turned analyst, and then any personal anecdotes, like anybody ever try to throw a range ball at you, Roddy Jones?
No. First off, why do they have a range ball in the stadium?
Great question. I love golf. I love football. I've never combined the two and been like, yo, let me sneak this max fly into the stadium.
That is peak bro. Like, I just carry one with me at all times. You never know.
But it's Tennessee, man. It's not. It's a different. Like, that was a neon yellow, like, range ball.
Yeah.
Like
Where would you expect someone to have one of those?
Yeah, probably Tennessee. Yeah, you're probably right. Or like,
just keep it on me, bro. You never know. You never know.
Never know we're gonna hit a couple, you know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, that's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's a form of aggression that I would associate with like that fan base. Like, there's crazy fan bases in the SEC, but I feel like,
and then there's
I'm gonna stop.
In terms of the throwing stuff, I just think it's, you know, for me to say it's classless and it's disrespectful, that's one thing. But like, I don't know, man. I just think it's just so shitty of a fan base. Like, how can you be proud to be a part of that fan base if you're a Tennessee fan today? Before we get to Rostradamus, I do want to cover, like, I felt like this was a big weekend in college football.
Yeah, Iowa lost, by the way. It's taken us 45 minutes, but yeah, the number 2 team in the country. So,
well, yeah. You know why it took us 45 minutes? Because, shocker, Iowa lost. Like, eventually someone wasn't going to turn the ball over against them, and Spencer Petras was going to show us who he was.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been fading them for 6 weeks, but the week I don't, they finally, that's how that goes. What else? What else were your takeaways from week 7, man?
Well, I thought that there was some solidification that went on, like Utah's win over Arizona State in the Pac-12 South. Like,
did you stay up for that? Did you stay up for that?
Hell no! Come on, man. I stayed up until halftime, and I was like, "Oh shit, Arizona State may win this thing."
Yeah, and then it was what 28
Then I woke up the next morning. I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
And Cam Rising apparently is like, why wasn't Cam Rising starting at the beginning? Why was it Charlie Brewer? Who,
great question.
Again, another guy in the portal. There's 3 teams that are going to contend in the top of the ACC Atlantic. 4 if you count BC, but they're kind of on the outside. It's NC State, it's Wake Forest, and it's Clemson. NC State's now got a win over Clemson. They got Wake Forest later on, and they've beaten Boston College, who's like this team that's kind of on the outside of those 3 that could spoil it. They've got the inside track in the ACC Atlantic, and they've got the win over Clemson. So now they just have to not mess it up. Now, they've got a little bit of a rough road because they get Carolina at the end of the year. That's obviously tough. They still haven't played Florida State or Syracuse, and those 2 teams are teams that say what you want, you don't want to play them.
Or
Florida
the Deeks.
State,
they haven't played the Deeks either.
And they haven't. I was getting to that. Florida State and Syracuse both will play you tough, and one of them might beat you. Florida State might beat you at the end. Syracuse will find a way to lose it, but it'll scare you along the way. And they still haven't played the Deeks, so that's fairly interesting. Pitt, dominant win over Virginia Tech.
Hail, baby. Hail Pitt, baby.
Pitt, it was the most dominant 28-7 win I've ever seen. Like, Virginia Tech had less than 300 total yards during the game. Pitt was up 28-0. Pitt got the ball back with 13 minutes and like 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Gave the ball back to Virginia Tech on a turnover on downs with 1:30 left.
Man, that's like some Paul Johnson stuff right there, man.
Did you see the opening drive that Navy had in the game we had on Thursday?
I didn't see it. I saw a screenshot of it, and it was pretty spectacular.
21 plays and like 13 and a half minutes off the clock. Like, that first quarter flew by.
I mean, that's like awesome. Eggplant emojis for you, though, right, Roddy? I mean, that goes back to your playing days, man.
Football erotica.
Just death march stuff.
Oh, so good, man.
Yeah,
just
you love
slowly sucking the soul of the defense out. With
did you go back to the hotel after UNC Miami and just turn on Army Wisconsin and just put your feet up on the desk and we're just like, oh baby, talk to me. Like that was it for you, wasn't it? Like that's your type of football porn.
I did not.
Whatever it takes. Man.
Wisconsin is never my type of football porn.
By the way, Army and the under.
They both hit at the Badgers.
They both hit. Yeah, they both hit.
I draw the line at Wisconsin.
Did that make Rod Stradamus last week, by the way?
I can sometimes get jiggy with Iowa, but I cannot do Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's not
Big
for
Ten's
everybody.
an acquired taste, my friend.
Big Ten is an acquired taste.
Yeah. 12. You want to do Rod Stradamus here to close us out?
Yeah, sure. Let's.
You went 4-2 last week, man. I'm here to praise you. I'm here to praise you.
Baby.
It had been, I mean, not since week 0 have you had like a definitive winning week.
Let's start in the American. Feels like I've been in the American a lot. I'm gonna go Memphis +2 at UCF. Memphis +2 at UCF. I saw Memphis. Memphis is a better team than their record. I saw UCF, and they are in a bad spot.
Yeah, they're too banged up, man.
They're really banged up.
Yeah, they're not healthy. That's a Friday night game, by the way, at the Bounce House, man.
Love me some Fridays. You know, I love me some Friday. UCF's, I mean, they're Cincinnati's worst.
Hey, sell it, baby. Sell it. I mean, come on.
Pony Express, baby. Let's go.
Biggest challenge and also best hope at getting in the playoff.
Hey, the best game of the weekday slate is Wednesday in Boone. I mean, we need to talk about that.
Last time I saw App State pop up, like they got that ass kicked, ass kicked by Louisiana last week.
Well, they were looking ahead,
Tuesday.
Obviously.
Well, they shouldn't have because they got it whooped.
Well, I mean, Billy Napier finally beat App State, man. Good for you, Coach. It's about time.
Wow.
It's about time.
Wow.
Just saying.
Wow.
Anyway, Memphis +2 on the board, Roddy. Where else you want to go?
All right. The next one I'm going is to the Big 12. Kansas State over Texas Tech. It's a pick'em.
Ooh.
It's at Texas Tech. Give me Kansas State.
I like that pick. Texas Tech's not good at football.
Kansas State's lost 3 straight, but they played Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Iowa State.
That's a nooner on Saturday. I love the nooners.
Right. All right, we ready for the next one?
I've been ready, man. Come on.
All right, good. Ohio State -20 at Indiana. They are going to beat the dog breaks out of Indiana. They really are. And I like me a big spread. I like big spreads, and I cannot lie. You don't like that pick. Why don't you?
Ohio State's coming off a bye, right?
They play last week? No, they didn't play last week.
I worry about the timing a little bit. Worry about the timing.
The timing of Ohio State's offense starting to absolutely roll people.
Yeah.
Like the offensive line, their offensive line is mauling folks right now. C.J. Stroud is on fire. And by the way, I don't know if you've heard of these two guys, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave.
Yeah.
They're unguardable.
Familiar. Yeah.
They're unguardable. Travion Henderson is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Oh,
not this year.
At some
point. Maybe next year.
Okay, very good. Ohio State -20 on the road.
On the road at Indiana.
That does seem like a pretty cheap price for the Buckeyes, not going to lie.
Thank you. Another road team. Here's the thing about this one. I don't feel great about it. But I know I'm going to trust my heart. I saw this line and I laughed. NC State -3 at Miami.
Why, Roddy? Why do you need to touch this game with a 10-foot pole?
What do you mean why? Why wouldn't I? It's stealing money. I've seen Miami up close and personal. It's not trusting them. It's knowing the opponent. Miami has come off to back-to-back brutal losses. They are statistically and subjectively the worst tackling team in the country. They are so bad at tackling the football. They've got some talent, but they are starting to wear thin on their depth. Like, they are in a bad spot right now. And I think mentally, I don't know where they are, bro.
Well, okay, I hear it. Listen, you've seen it up close. You called their game. My only pushback would be, like, they haven't quit.
That is true.
Like, I would have thought after the Virginia game, like, they're done. Like, they're done.
But they played two teams close, Virginia and North Carolina, that are bad. Like, North Carolina's not a good football team right now. They're average at best. Virginia's
bad. They just shut out Duke, man.
I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said
kidding
that.
me?
They just body bagged Cut, man. They just rubbed his face in it. You don't treat a legend like that.
Y'all hear that? That's the sound of Duke going back to the 1990s in football. They just entered a time machine.
You can't get shut out. Especially like Virginia was the worst defense in the league before that game. Worst in the league. So
shut them out.
Not good when you're an offensive guru and you get shut out by the worst defense in the league.
I understand the hesitation on Miami because they haven't quit. I just think that NC State is a step up in class from the two teams that they've just played. The mistakes that North Carolina made will not be made by NC State. And Virginia can't play defense. So I don't know how Miami scores. What are you laughing at, Subs?
Just the words NC State is a step up in class. Just something I never thought I'd hear ever.
Listen,
but you're not wrong.
I picked BC last week, and I was I might as well have just taken cash out of my wallet and just set it on fire. I mean, it's the same thing. Was that your
dog? Yeah. Was that that's my dog pick?
No, my dog was my dog was Tennessee, which is even more of an insult to injury.
I'm going back to it. I went to this before. I've got faith. UCLA -2.5 against Oregon.
Roddy.
Let's go, Wayne.
Roddy.
Come on, Wayne.
This didn't go well last time, did it?
I thought it did. I thought it did go well. Did we not go?
You famously went LSU in week 1 at the Rose Bowl, and that backfired. Yeah, I said I was gonna pick. I think I said I was gonna pick every UCLA game from here on. Sticking to my guns. Here's the thing: unlike the Washington team that they played on Saturday, Oregon does have a pulse. So I don't know if I agree with this line.
Say it to me in Wayne's face.
I have no problem poo-pooing UCLA in front of Wayne. I have no problem doing that at all. He knows where he stands.
UCLA -2.5.
That's a 3:30 Eastern kick, by the way, at the Rose Bowl.
Why is UCLA favored?
I mean, they run the football well. DTR looked good against Washington. Washington, they weren't preseason top 10, were they? They were fringe, though, right? They were like 12, 13.
They were a top 25 team. Yeah, they were close.
God, that's boy.
They looked good last year, though. They were going off what they had coming back.
Who, Washington?
Yeah,
they played 4 games last year.
I know, but in those 4 games, they looked very good.
In those 16 quarters, man.
Well,
delicious.
That defense is not bad either. Like, they got some dudes on defense, and you would not want to have to scheme for those guys. They're going to lose a lot of games the way they've already lost games, which is close.
Here's the thing that scares me off of Pitt in this game. Virginia Tech's got a pretty darn good secondary, and it was really hard for Pitt to get open against them. Now, are Clemson's corners as physical as Virginia Tech's? No, they're not. Virginia Tech's corners are the 2 most physical in the league as a tandem, but they're good. So, is Pitt going to be able to get open enough? Because they struggled with that against Virginia Tech, and Clemson is an objectively better defense. So I feel like this could be like a 20-17 game, like a 21-17 sort of deal. Because Pitt's gonna pass interference a few times and give Clemson a couple of touchdowns.
Dude, that's the only way Tennessee was around in that game. I mean, Pitt must have been called for 15 defensive pass interference penalties.
Yeah, and they could every single game. They could be every single game.
That's back when Joe Milton was manning the Tennessee offense. By the way, we don't need to talk about him and the way he handled that last play of the game.
I'm liking this one better. Wake -3.5 at Army.
Did you see my reaction? I know this is not a visual medium for the folks who listen to this on the podcast, but I was scrolling through the lines, and I stumbled upon Wake Army at high noon.
Yep.
I mean, no disrespect for the Deeks, man.
No disrespect for the to the cadets.
It's 3.5. You want Wake -3.5?
Yeah, I said that. I was either going that or TCU -4.5.
Here's the thing about TCU, and I still maintain this, although we're running out of teams. They're going to ruin somebody's season this year. They are. Maybe it's Oklahoma State. I don't know.
Keep saying that.
They're going to ruin somebody's season.
Oklahoma State doesn't need any help getting their season ruined. Oklahoma State's going to ruin Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State's a top 10 team, bro. They're undefeated.
Oklahoma State's going to lose this week, probably. They're at Iowa State. They probably lose that game. They're definitely losing Oklahoma. Like, come on, they don't beat Oklahoma.
Why don't you pick it then? Why don't you pick it then, Rod Stradamus, if you're so confident?
What's the line on that? I'll take Iowa State money line.
Iowa State's a 7-point favorite.
Oh, see, you won't even give me the money line, I bet.
That's not what we do here, Roddy. How long have you been doing this segment?
I don't know if they'll win by 7.
Yeah.
But I think they win.
It's kind of chunky.
Yeah, it is a little chunky.
Speaking of chunky, Alabama 25-point favorite over Tennessee. Just put it out there. It's too much.
Tennessee bounces back?
No.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's not enough.
It's
too much.
It's not enough.
Tennessee can score, man.
Do you know what happened the last time Hendon Hooker saw a team that looked like Alabama? He got too cold against Clemson. The man literally had the shivers on the sideline. Couldn't go in the game because he was too cold. That's the last time he saw somebody that looked like Alabama. And Clemson doesn't look like Alabama.
It's back when Clemson was good. Remember that?
It was fun times.
All right, so Roddy's locked in with another 6-pack.
Oh, I'm giving you 6-packs every week. It's what we do.
Memphis +2, Kansas State pick'em. Buckeyes -20 against Indiana. NC State -3 at Miami. That's just disgusting. Just a heinous game. UCLA -2.5 against the Ducks. Wake -3.5 at
Come on, UCLA.
Army. A lot of road favorites here, Roddy.
I know. UCLA is the only one I'm worried about.
This is a recipe for I don't know. You're coming off a little bit of a nice weekend, so I don't want to ruin it for you.
Feeling it.
By the way, just quick shout out to Surber Stradamus. He is 3-0 against the spread. He gave out a bad money line pick.
He started feeling yourself a little bit, and I get it. That's why I want to let you back in this thing if you got one.
Coastal.
Wow.
-4.
See,
in Boone. Give me the shots.
I like that one.
That's my kind of guy. Like, we're going to go to the game. Might as well put some action on it.
I like that one. I kind of like that.
Let's sweat a little bit in the fourth quarter. All right, so Thursday night lights, you've got Tulane SMU.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, you've got some ACC action, Boston College.
Louisville.
And Louisville.
Which actually, I think is going to be a pretty good game. Should be a pretty good game.
And you still don't think there's going to be a job opening in South Florida?
I'm not convinced, man.
Wow.
And the reason is I don't know how to separate like the Twitter trolls from their actual financial situation and the amount that they care about the athletics. Like, I don't know how to separate all that with Miami right now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Roddy, at Roddy Jones 20 on Twitter. Be careful out there, man. You bodied a lot of fan bases today, they might be coming after you, man.
It's late at night. Who's gonna? By the way, talking about fan bases coming after me, Kentucky fans, sit your ass down.
What happened to Kentucky?
Sit your ass down, Kentucky fans, all of you. So I go on, like we're talking big picture stuff, all right, during the game. And on Thursday, and Matt brings up Georgia, Kentucky, and he says something that I take as I took it as him saying that he thinks Kentucky has a chance. And I go, you think Kentucky has a chance in that game? And he's like, no. Do you? I said, I'm concerned for Kentucky. Aren't you? I said, yeah, I'm concerned that Kentucky's not going to score. Well, Kentucky fans heard that. And Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Kentucky fans blowing me up on Twitter. Blowing me up. And then, because I said I was concerned that they weren't going to score, when they scored at the end of the first quarter, some guy tweeted me like, what do you think of Kentucky now? Same damn thing as I thought before, man. Good team, don't step in the ring with Georgia.
Here's what I know. I know Georgia left that back door open, and Mark Stoops and them boys, they walked through it. That's all I know.
Okay, great team. Loser.
I love that we started the show with Mark Stoops should get the LSU job. Ended the show with Kentucky is garbage.
Yeah,
they're the worst. Yeah. Trash.
Yeah, we've really. That's hard to do, man. Like to bring that thing full circle.
It's like a circle.
Unbelievable. That's a gift, Roddy.
The frustration that I had in that moment was number one, the constant, like, you like go into Twitter and it's like, oh, I've got 5 new mentions. Golly, what is that? And like, it doesn't go away unless you click on it. So you click on it. It's just Kentucky fans just railing me. Who is this guy? Typical AC, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't care generally, but I had been complimentary of Kentucky the entire day. I love what Mark Stoops is doing there.
Clearly. He's your first phone call. If you're the AD at Baton Rouge, you're like, hey,
It just was
Mark,
never going to happen in Athens. It just wasn't. And they got all offended because I didn't give them a chance, which I was right.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to be getting the better of Georgia this year, man.
What the hell's going on at Florida? They going to have a job opening at the end of the year?
Let's wrap up the show, folks. That's been it. At CS Now Tweets. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Wayne Cook stops by. Roddy, it's been real, buddy. A low blow at the end there, man.
Maybe you can get the answer to the Florida question.
They're fine. Don't worry about it. We're fine.